Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to talk to you this afternoon about risk management and specifically enterprise risk management. So, I want to start off with giving you a little bit of background because risk management has significantly evolved over the last few years. So, a few years ago, when you heard people talking about risk management, you automatically associated it with insurance, right? Fires, floods, accidental losses, and those were the key risks that were being managed through insurance. There was a survey done about 4 years ago, which opened up a lot of people's eyes. And that said that only 25 to 30% of a corporation's risks were actually insurable, right? So that's a pretty scary statistic when you flip it to the other side. When you flip it, what that means is that 70 to 75% of an organization's risks were not being managed at all, right? So that's when people started embracing the concept of enterprise risk management. And that's where we've evolved to today's environment. What that means is it's a very holistic approach that covers an entire corporation's risk. So you've still got the little piece of insurance in there, there's no question, but it covers everything else. So operational risk, strategic risk, reputation risk, finance risk, all of those elements are very much at play. And that's where the corporations are moving to embrace these days. Um, I'm going to take you back to 2008 when we had the financial crisis. And what that did was it sent shockwaves throughout the financial industry. The reason I'm sharing that with you, immediately following the financial crisis, the government stepped in with very significant changes to their regulations. A lot of those regulations included elements of risk management. And the reason that's important is that when you start Googling risk management jobs, you're going to recognize that right now, the vast majority of those jobs fall somewhere within the financial sector. That is strictly because of how it was forced to revolve with the regulations that were opposed. Um, don't be discouraged by that by any means. There are a huge number of corporations and industries specific that are now moving into the risk management field at a very rapid rate. So areas like transportation, government, education, healthcare, all of those areas are embracing the concept of risk management. Government has taken a whole different element. Federal, provincial, and municipal are all embracing and enterprise risk management right now. Um, we see the results of risk impacts every day. You open up the newspaper and you see risks that are, maybe there was, a train derailment, or we're dealing with severe weather conditions these days because of climate change. It wasn't that long ago that we had the Calgary floods, the Toronto floods, the ice storm from Toronto. And we're told that those severe weather events are here to stay. They're becoming the norm. That causes a significant amount of business disruption for organizations that need to be managed. You hear them talk about business continuity planning, disaster recovery. All of those elements are ingrained within the risk management profile as well. And what you'll find is that we actually use business continuity planning, for example, as a risk mitigation tool. So I want to take a minute to tell you exactly what risk management is all about. It's a definite process. It involves risk identification, analysis, monitoring, control, risk mitigation. It's very much an ingrained process. There's lots of theories and concepts behind it. There's lots of tools and techniques that are applicable. But what I find really cool is that risk management, enterprise risk management specifically, can be ingrained into any organization these days, big, small, private, public, it doesn't matter. And we're seeing very much one of the biggest benefits of enterprise risk management is better decision making. So with the corporations that have truly embraced it, their executives and people that are in a decision making mode are absolutely seeing better decision making. They're moving their businesses forward with their eyes wide open. They've recognized the risk, they've analyzed the risk, they know the impacts, whether it's positive or negative, and they're moving forward with those decisions. I want to talk very briefly about job descriptions. So when you get into the job description search, you're going to find elements like risk analyst, risk coordinator, risk associate. Those are typical your entry level positions into the risk management field. You'll see positions becoming increasingly more responsible until you reach the top, which is typically a chief risk officer. A chief risk officer typically will report directly to a board of directors or a CEO, and he or she will have responsibility for a corporation's entire risk management portfolio. What is unique with those areas is that communications is a huge element of risk management, interpersonal skills, team building. You can't do risk management alone. All areas of the corporations are engaged. And there is a designation that the University of Continuing Studies offers specifically related to emerging risks. That will help you hopefully understand the push for where risk management is evolving. So it was only a few years ago that cyber risk, for example, wasn't on anyone's radar. Cyber risk today, in association with reputation risk because of our social media impact, is now a couple of the top risks that our C-suite executives are losing the most sleep over. Okay? The other element is drones. We never had drones before. And quite frankly, the transportation sector isn't quite sure what to do with them because they've shut down airports, they've landed on the White House lawn, and they're collecting data as they fly. So drones are another emerging risk that we're looking at. And the last one, is really the driverless cars. Think about where we're going with driverless cars. They're being tested throughout the world right now, and everybody seems to think that they're here to stay. So our world is really an ever-changing landscape these days with risks everywhere, and I'm very much convinced that enterprise risk management is here to stay. So thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity of talking to you today.